Good evening, Matt Wordsworth with ABC News. The ABC has obtained the long-awaited master plan for the Gabba, a document that lays out the vision for Queensland's home of cricket. It's been under wraps for months and is set to go to Cabinet, who would still be smarting over the embarrassing loss of the first test of the summer due to the ageing facilities at the stadium. We've got Sports Minister Mick de Brenni here in the studio for his view, but let's get an exclusive first look at how Stadiums Queensland sees the Gabba of the future. Let's begin outside. The architects said the big problem is there's no sense of arrival. To address that, this western end would be revamped as the major entry point. It'll have an elevated podium hugging the entire side of the stadium at level 3. Pedestrian bridges at the north over Vulture Street and the south over Stanley Street will funnel visitors to 7 new gates. Big screens will be dotted around and a huge lighting display created on the side of the building that can be changed to match the game, concert or event that's happening. But why the western side? Well, the majority of fans already arrive from that direction. It would also work in with the government's planned Cross River rail station, which will be built over here. And there's also a bus station planned for down here. This area in between will be a park and walkway because another problem identified by the designers is that there's just one small grassed area where people can meet outside, and that's just down there. The other 3 main entrances are essentially on the street, making it difficult to meet up with your friends, so this parkland solves that. Stadiums Queensland also wants to open up the path into the Gabba so that as you approach the gates you can see through to what's happening on the inside, building that pre-game atmosphere. Inside, the idea is to install new 16 by 9 metre video boards at each end. They'll be suspended above the spectators, allowing a viewing deck to see the length of the field that's also square of the wicket. Corporate suites and function rooms will be upgraded to spin money both on game day and non-game days. And out in the stadium, there'll be a media halo, described as a combination of digital projection and lighting that transforms the underside of the roof into one 360-degree screen. Sounds fancy, doesn't it? But when will all this happen? Well, here's the bad news. The master plan says this is a 15 to 20-year development, something that may leave some sports fans a little impatient. And Sports Minister Mick de Brenni joins us now. Minister, welcome.
Thank you.
The Gabba's already seen the loss of the precious first test of the summer. James Sutherland from Cricket Australia says it's pretty clear that the Gabba has slipped down the rankings, and the master plan itself notes that every other major oval stadium in Australia has been upgraded in the last 5 to 7 years. So now we've seen the plan. Is this redevelopment more urgent than 15 to 20 years?
Well, what the plan does is demonstrate that there is a clear vision for the redevelopment of the Gabba. Now, the last Gabba redevelopment was many decades ago, and you're right, other stadiums have grown beyond what the Gabba was able to offer. What we want to see down in the Gabba is an amazing fan experience, and it's not often the never never. This is a project that can be delivered in the near future, and really critical in this project is the land centre site. So that building is going to be demolished in the next few months.
Yeah, that's that parkland we just saw in between the Cross River Station and the Gabba.
That's right, and so the demolition of the land centre site paves the way for the redevelopment of the Gabba. This vision for the Gabba will restore that ground, that stadium, to one of the preeminent cricket grounds in the world. Really looking forward to that.
Yeah, so how far off do you reckon? 15 to 20, or are you talking a decade or some other time frame?
Oh, look, I think the redevelopment of the Gabba, based on this master plan, is far more achievable in a shorter time frame than that.
Any idea, ballpark figure of what this could cost?
Well, stadium redevelopments of this nature have costed anywhere between about 160 million and 1.6 billion when you look at the stadiums around Australia.
This looks a lot more than 160 million.
Look, it's a significant project. It includes activation spaces around the entire precinct. It includes and proposes great new facilities within the stadium. I can't put a figure on it, nor would it be appropriate for me to put a figure on it at this stage. But look, we'll be making sure that Queensland sports fans and the players get the stadium they deserve.
We just saw in Melbourne today a stadium sold off as Marvel Stadium. Are you interested in selling the naming rights to the Gabba?
The name, the Gabba, is synonymous with the greatest cricket wicket in the world. And so we've considered whether or not naming rights would be worthwhile, but retention of the brand, the Gabba, we think is a high value proposition itself, and so for the time being, we'll be sticking with the traditional name.
All right, Sports Minister Mick de Brenni, thanks for your time.
Very welcome.